Who wants to do the sludge removal update? Carl, is that you?
Yes, the last of the sludge was removed this morning. Not Jonathan, I'm sorry. Jason has found a company to come in and do a final cleanup of the basin. We do have water coming up through the floor, groundwater, and Jason has a crack seal firm that is going to be working on that. And Jason is always also working, I believe, with IREA Brothers is to construct an underdrain system to help with the solids content.
Yeah, so we're going to rebuild the underdrain that had previously been there and been damaged at some previous time. This will help in the dewatering process, as it will help take the bag out of what is an elevation that would actually see water from the pond backing up into it. So we're going to bring it up above that elevation to allow for better drainage.
Is there any discussion yet on expanding the sludge lagoons? Anything happening there?
We're still trying to meet with a vendor on the mechanical methods for dewatering. So we're in the process of trying to get a meeting with their rep when he's in the area. He's up in Maine right now. So when he's done with that, he's doing a startup in Maine on a dewatering facility. So the idea of a mechanical system is you'd end up putting in a centrifuge out by the lagoons inside of a small enclosure. There'd be like a roll-off container there as well. So we would basically process the sludge and dispose of it on a weekly or bi-weekly basis instead of doing it on an annual basis.
What's the cost effectiveness of doing that?
That's the piece we need to, it'll be a holistic, once we have what the upfront cost would be, then we'd have to run an O&M life cycle cost of the project as well. In the end, we'd be dewatering the sludge to a higher level than we're currently dewatering given the lagoons. So the disposal costs should be cheaper. It would spread out the cost over the year and allow for better management of that cost as well.
But do we have a location for disposal?
Yeah, it would just continue to go to Bourne on a bi-weekly basis.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't sure if they were going to be accepting again.
They've been accepting this whole time. So
well,
this
whole time, but they used to accept and they stopped, and we sent to Connecticut. Then they just started again. So
we are also working to try and determine if we can get a level of quality that Synagro would accept again as well. We had some samples sent out. There was a mix up at the lab. We're still waiting to see if those results come back in a favorable light that would have allowed us to send it to Synagro, which would have reduced the cost slightly.
Data security update.
Brenda?
Yeah, actually, Woodard and Curran was in today. Everything's been put in place as of 3 o'clock this afternoon. So I didn't get a chance to really talk to the engineer too much, but I can tell you that the equipment is on site and has been implemented.
Great. Elm Street water main replacement.
Project is out to bid. Thanks to the help of our interns as well. They helped with the copying and binding of our bid documents. So we should see the bid opening date is this is the wrong month. July 14th.
Okay.
So hopefully it can get started possibly
End of
September,
July.
end of July, you think?
Yeah. We'll have a notice to proceed by the end of July.
right?
It's good.
That's good. What about, okay, moving on to the Cook Estates.
Cook Estates, follow up on that one. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly what their engineer said this week. Pam Fahey. Oh, wrong one, inbox. From Pam. They finished all their desk pits and monitoring wells. Their engineer has a draft report that has not yet been submitted to the town.
So what are they, I know they had septic issues up there, I mean, right?
Yeah, so their system is in failure. So if you look at the site, there's in that hillside, there's 4 leaching fields. At this point, only 2 of the leaching fields are still operating. The other 2 are being pumped on a as needed basis by Rosano Davis, so they're not seeing any flow. We are still seeing water flowing out of the hill. So they're still working to address the issue.
That's not good.
Uh,
508 CJC, that's the garage, correct?
Yes,
Their engineer is working on an application according to the building inspector.
they've been working on that for quite a while. I thought they were supposed to be doing it by July.
You have to follow up with John. That was the feedback I got from him when I talked to him last week.
Okay, what about 390?
390, nothing. I haven't heard nothing.
What happened with the sewer meeting on the 17th?
I did not go.
Is that, you didn't go, you haven't heard anything, no one knows?
I have not heard anything.
They seem like they're at a standstill. There's no talk of possibly ever paying us for water hookup or anything.
Oh, I haven't heard nothing on, I have not heard from the owner. All communications with the owner are supposed to go through the town manager's office.
Has Chris, have you heard anything? Is Chris still here?
Hey, Chris,
I'm just hiding out in the background. By the way, you look like a wine cellar. You look like you're in a really cool place.
I am, I'm in my basement and there's a wine cellar behind me.
Oh, that really is a wine cellar. Wow, I was actually just
It is, you're right.
wow. That is very cool.
I'm not in the wine cellar, I'm outside of it, but you're right.
Yeah, if you were in the wine cellar, it'd be cooler. You'd have a nice in front of you.
Yeah,
You're gonna have it in the wine cellar. You should invite us all into the meeting, man, so we can.
yeah, we can have a meeting here sometime.
I
I agree with that.
So,
Yeah.
could you ask me the question again, Lee?
Question
Yeah.
is, Chris, do you have any update on 390 CJC and their water application?
On the
Are
water
there-
station, no. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lee.
Their water or sewer applications?
I do know that they've been in negotiations with the sewer department, and I believe they were getting pretty close, which is good. Or in discussions, I should say, not necessarily negotiations. They were in discussions with the sewer department. And I think that I think they need to resolve. Obviously, they need to resolve the sewer situation, and then that would just. I think everything else would flow from that, because they also have to get in front of the planning board again, because the building has moved a little bit from its original position. And then, of course, they have to come back to you folks with water. They haven't finalized their water permit from you folks either?
They
Haven't paid.
They just haven't paid.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of important. Unless they pay, they don't get water. So
Right.
the problem is they have no place to put the water. If they actually got the water, they can't put it anywhere because they don't have a disposal plan. So they were working towards that. I actually haven't followed up with sewer this week, so I will double check for you. But I know that there was some good conversations going on, and I believe they were getting closer, which is good news. Does that answer you a little bit, Lee?
Well, I don't know. I've been looking at some of that stuff on Facebook, and I know people in the community are a little concerned about what's not happening, shall we say.
It's taken a long time. I will most certainly agree. The news is that they seem to be taking the sewer option very seriously, which I think everyone would prefer. from what I've heard. And it does seem that it would be a long-term solution, also protect the brook and the town's water supply. And I know that you also just talked a little bit about the Cook Estates. That's an ongoing, the health department is on top of that. They're working very closely with the residents up there. And then something's going to have to get fixed there. I mean, that is definitely something that's going to have to be addressed. And it's possible that everything will be able to be solved together. Who knows? But at the moment, they're two different subjects, but they are next door to each other. So hopefully a solution one might be able to help fix the other one. Excuse me.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks for attending our meeting.
Oh, not a problem. I felt bad. I haven't been in a while. So it's actually with Zoom. I don't even have to leave my desk, right? Which is kind of cool.
Okay, indirect costs.
Okay, I kind of feel that since we are going into a new year and we're going to have to look at our budget very accurately, that we should be receiving weekly timesheets from Jason so that we know whether or not we're actually billing correctly or if we need less or more hours. Because that's typical action in the engineering world. I keep hearing that from my daughters who are both engineers that they have to keep track. So it's not something that is pie in the sky here.
Yeah, I mean, indirect costs are always an estimate. They're not supposed to be precise. And we do our best to estimate it. I think it's going to cause unnecessary administrative burden for Jason to do that. I don't think that's standard for somebody working for a town. If someone's working for a private company, I think they do bill and keep track of their time. But clearly, just listening to Jason at this meeting, he's involved in every one of these topics and more. So I think we are getting great value for our money, having Jason do everything he does. I also, I've always been a proponent that I think it'd be great to have Jason 100% of the time, but right now we're at 70.
Well, I mean, this is just it. Right now we're at 70. Are you going to demand 100% when we come to our next budget, John? And
I'm
what
not demanding anything. I don't think I've ever demanded anything. I think I've simply say what I think makes the most sense, but it's never been a demand.
Well, I mean, I kind of got that impression right after we finished our budget and we were past the budget season that you brought that up, that it was very important to you to have 100%. And we negotiated.
It wasn't a demand. I was trying to do what I thought was in the best interest of the Water Commission. I was simply giving my opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Are we-
after
so
the
we
budget was completed to redo it. And I don't want to go into that situation again next budget round. I'd rather have some backup so that we kind of have an idea, because I know Jason just is not working for us.
Well, I guess to your point, Lee, I think I may have gone off track by saying 100%. You said you think Jason should do timesheets for us. And my view is, Jason, I don't think that's necessary for Jason to do that.
Steve, do you have any?
So we came up with that 70-30 split to kind of ease into it. If Jason can report monthly what's going on, during our meetings, that's the big thing. As a municipal worker myself, I mean, we get pulled in different directions all the time, and it's hard. It's when you look at the laundry list of items that has to get done, and you get pulled away a lot of times, and it happens, and and I know what I mean, I don't know how Cohasset does their timesheets, but as long as you just kind of give us an update what's happening, I think that's huge. You could tell work performance by actions. That's all.
All right, so we'll just breeze by. And what about the withdrawal of our indirect costs on July 1st? Last year was the first year that ever happened. So we paid the town 100% in advance for everything they did. But then we can never keep track of anything they do, so it doesn't really make any difference, I guess. Whatever they want to do, they can do.
I don't think that's a fair comment, Lee. I think we're getting a lot of value from Don and from Jason and from all the town services that we're receiving for our indirect costs.
So you think we should pay it 100% in advance?
You know, we've already had this discussion with Don, and he said that it's just a timing thing, and that's when he thought it made the most sense. I think it's a discussion we should bring Don back into it because it changed. We've already gone through this with Don, and he can explain it better why he put it on that date.
Well, I mean, he did it without ever notifying us that he was doing it. And what about our hydrant fees? Should we get paid in advance for those from the town?
I think we'd want Don here to talk about how things are typically done from.
Well, I mean, I can tell you for the hydrants, all hydrant fees for the town as well as individual customers go out in February for the February billing. That's how I've done it for the last 22 years. So if that's going to change, I need to know.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is, Brenda, the indirect cost used to be paid midway through the year, and it was just abruptly changed last year without any consultation with us. So I'm just wondering if we should be changing other things too, that's all. If this is a new way of looking at finances.
Brenda, the private ones, this probably has to do with the tax thing. So the individuals getting them, it's so they want to make sure they got it in the next
Oh,
calendar
I
year.
just,
not-
that's how it's programmed in Danny's system.
No, I'm just saying that might be why though, that you don't want to send them two in 1 year, the private people at least.
Right,
1 calendar year.
right.
So we weren't discussing private, we were discussing, town costs.
No,
between-
I was strictly talking about the private side.
Okay.
Like, if you decide to change the municipal side, you might not want to change the private side because of tax implications to the.
No, I wasn't even thinking about changing the town, private side.
No, I'm
Because we're-
just, I know, I don't know what Brenda's process is, so I'm just throwing that out there.
And Lee, what's your concern with paying in July? Or do you think we're losing interest on that money, or what's the concern?
Well, there's always been a concern that I have asked for several years about accountability for all hours billed. And it's just, well, this is the way life is. And just to abruptly take whatever, and then talking about interest, we really don't know where that interest comes from, when it comes. It's just whatever they decide to tell us, whenever they decide to tell us. It's been $1,000, then all of a sudden, oh, gee whiz, there was a lot of money. And I found out through advisory that, well, Don decided who was getting what interest. So we have no control over anything like this. And we are supposed to be fiscally responsible for all of our money. And if it's just like, well, whatever, I guess we're just going to have to go with that.
Okay, Woodard and Kern presentation to the town.
Yeah, I was actually asked by my superiors to inquire with the town. I'm not sure if this has ever been done. I think Brenda said it has not, but we like to, get with the town manager and the water board and do an overall presentation of Woodard and Kern's presence here, our performance, how things are going. And I'm just throwing it out there. By no means and we have to do this. I just thought it'd be a good opportunity once we start getting back together. I know we can't meet in person now, but I just wanted to throw it out there, get your thoughts. Again, it's just a suggestion. We'd like to do it on the side, let everybody in the town know, how things are going. We would refer to the AOR and various projects, your capital planning and budgeting, and kind of tie it all into our performance and the operation of the system. So with that, it's totally up to you.
I think it's a good idea. Along those same lines, it seems like it's probably going to be a sales pitch from Woodard and Kern to say, look at all these things we're doing, which is probably great. But we're also in the last 3-year term of our contract. And so we need to start thinking as a board, what comes next? Do we go out for RFP at some point? Do we negotiate with Woodard and Curran? I think that's a very important topic.
I think we have to go out to bid. We can't
Okay.
negotiate. Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we have to go out to bid again.
If we're in the last renewal period, the answer is yes. If we're in the last renewal period.
Yes.
You don't have to do it tomorrow. I mean, if we have 3 more years, so you want to do it at least a year and a half in advance, because it takes a long time. If you decide to go in a different direction, it takes a long time to do that. But yeah, so in the next, I would say, John, you'd probably want to put this on the list of things to be planning for about a year from now, is to start that process up again. Because if I recall, it was quite voluminous the last time we did this. Purposely so, but
Right.
we've done it before. So the good news is that we actually have a template.
So just
Okay,
make sure, go ahead, Lee.
In regard to your comment about a sales pitch from Woodard and Curran, have you looked at the town report? Every single year, they have done a wonderful town report indicating exactly where we've been, what we've done. But the one thing I did notice this year, that it never indicated that it came from the Water Commission. So I don't know how that was submitted,
I
but
know what you mean.
every other year at the Water Department Town Report, it has the whole report, and then it says respectfully submitted by Water Commission and lists the names. This year it didn't do that.
Well, that would be on me then. I mean, I do it every year and I submit it to whoever it is. It used to be Jen. I can't remember who I sent it to this year.
Yeah, no, I was really surprised because that's been standard procedure.
I
But
personally,
anyway, I want to tell everybody that it is a wonderful report, and we have so much to thank Woodard and Curran for keeping us up to date and giving us this history of what's been being done in the water department, so that people can actually look back. Because I remember the first couple of years I was on the Water Commission, there was no report at all.
well, I've been doing this report for the town for a while now, so that report, the presentation that Fred's talking about, that'll be a portion of it as well. Because
Right.
when I create the slide presentation, I take the information from those reports to populate it.
Yes, no, that's what I'm saying, because after Woodard and Curran came on board, we started generating these wonderful reports. Prior to that, when we had previous chairmen, they did not want to do a report, so we had no historical background. And this is great, so people actually know where their money is being spent and what is being updated and how we're maintaining the facility.
Okay, so it sounds like if Steve, you're on board, I think we think your idea, Fred's a good one to do a presentation. And then, Chris, I had a follow-up question for you. When you say a year and a half, are you saying that we start discussions at that point about doing the RFP, or we actually have it out the door in a year and a half before?
I should circle back with Michelle and Brian about this, John. It takes, I believe there was several months of kind of build up for the program, and then it has to be on the street for a little bit and you want to review them. I mean, you may end up only getting, there's not a lot of companies that do these days. It may be that you may want to start thinking about starting work on this as early as the end of this fiscal year, perhaps like a year from now. But I'll tell you what. Let me circle back with our procurement team and let you know. But I'm trying to remember. I know it was a while, and I know Lee, you were right in the middle of all that. Was it? Did we go? Was it like a whole year worth of conversation on the last RFP? I don't remember. It was a lot. It was a long time.
Well, we were having a lot of discussions because we tried to get sewer involved so that we could have a joint
right.
RFP, and that was why the discussion was extended.
Okay.
And yeah, but I don't think it really took that long once sewer decided they didn't want to have anything to do with us.
Well, I made a note. I'll circle back, John, and I'll let all of you know what Michelle's recommendation is on timing. So-
Yeah, be-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I basically think that what we had was everything was settled within 6 months of the end of the contract. So
Okay.
if the RFP was done 6 months before that, there was plenty of time
I'll
for
double
people
check.
to do the walkthrough of the plant and everything.
I would assume you
Okay.
have award at least 2 months prior to the termination of the contract, so there'd be time if there was a transition to transition.
Yeah, that's why I said there was probably about 6 months before.
So it may not be something you have to worry about for maybe 18 months. So,
Yeah.
it'd be good. It's not as if there's a few other things on the list, I think. So
Right, right. Okay, something to think about. So, thanks, Fred. So you'll get back to us on that presentation and how you propose it to happen?
Sure. If, as far as a time frame, are we thinking maybe a couple months from now, or you want to wait to the end of summer? We get farther away from, the COVID thing, or it's up to you.
I think
Who would-
probably the fall, because,
Yeah.
people are traveling so much now since they haven't been able to get out. And so they may not be paying attention to a lot of things. And then after the children get back into school, things might be settling down. Maybe October.
It's fine.
I agree with
Anyway,
that.
So this would be to the various, it would be to the select board, to Chris Senior, and maybe I can go on to the local television network so the people in the town can see it as well.
Yep,
Well,
I
mean,
agree.
Be looped through 143.
Okay, Chris, I'm sorry, Chris had a
no, it's all right. I just want to say, yeah, I agree. I think a report would be great. And I think the fall, I agree, Lee. I think people are back and paying more attention in the fall. And I do think that people will value it. And maybe a joint meeting with you folks on the select board, and it could be on TV, and the meeting could just be the report or something, and talking about, because I know you have some other long range projects that are going to be kicking around out there. It's never a bad thing to have an early conversation about this stuff. So any help that we can offer, just let me know.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, with that in mind, I've been reading some of those comments on Facebook about, anytime anybody feels bad about the water department. And that one that came out recently by a gentleman who grew up in town telling everybody our water is terrible, we shouldn't drink it, it's full of bad chemicals. I don't know whether or not we should be doing something on the town website, a little blurb from the water department exactly. Hey, this is what we have. We're not putting in the TTHMs as chemicals to poison everyone. It just there's so many odd ideas going around, shall we say. And, I don't want people to get nervous about drinking our water.
Can we bring in the public relations person in town to help us decide best steps?
If I may, I'm sorry. I would monitor. I mean, we monitor Facebook too. I got to tell you, forgive me if you use the common terminology, but I don't respond to a lot of the trolls who post stuff and just want to rile people up. That said, every once in a while you have to, because you don't want things to catch on either, right? I mean, the fact is the department won 2 great awards. Thank you for sharing that. We did spread that out. It was a great acknowledgement. And at the same time, I think people are more sensitive. This whole PFAS thing. I mean, after, I was talking to Jason about this months ago, right? And then we did the mailing and everything else. I'm reading about how they're finding it in Midway Atoll on Mount Everest. I'm like, wow. And then that movie that was it Mark Ruffalo played the attorney, that they douse chemical
Dark water.
in a freaking act, and poisoning people in West Virginia or someplace like that, wasn't it? Or the Carolinas. It's horrific. So people are a lot more attuned to this. So I think they want to hear it. On the other hand, you want to do it the right way. So one of the things that might be, we talked about this. Maybe I don't think people understand how the water department, how the water works. Maybe, if you want to do like a little video, we could talk about having that. Just the videos cost more, but if they want to come in and, we've done little ones on how to vote, how to vote early, and we did one on flu shots. Maybe just like a quick plant tour, or even have 143 come in and have the 3 of you and give a little tour of the plant. I mean, I don't think people fully appreciate what it takes and what goes into it and how many steps there are for safety purposes. I mean, so that might not be a bad, at the very least, we can also do, 143 is a great resource. I mean, I can make that an episode of Quassa 143 TV. Can meet you at the plant. We can do a little walkthrough. I mean, obviously we don't want to show any security stuff, but like you do for tours for kids, right? I mean, why not? I mean, if that's an idea, you folks, if you're interested, I'll talk to Don Roy and we can set up something for sometime this summer and then roll it out in the fall so people can see the great work that's done. Because quite frankly, I wasn't here before. I heard all the horror stories about the past. The water today is great. I mean, there's going to be moments like anything, right? The natural water supply here is a little rusty. It just is. That said, the water that comes out of the pipes here is really good, and I mean, it's better than stuff. My t-shirts in Hull, they turn orange. I can do that. But I think maybe, if you think it's a good idea, plus I think maybe some periodic press releases are great. I think people like to read stuff. And so I'm happy to include that kind of stuff in regular updates. But if you want to think maybe like a, half an hour little walk around or a 15-minute walk around the water plant, if you folks think it's a good idea, just let me know and we'll set something up.
Yeah, well, I think maybe that and something else. But the thing that concerned me is this comment by this person. I had seen it previously, almost identical. And then there are a lot of people, I just moved here and what's going on? I've never seen anything like this. And then there was, remember when the papers came out with the towns with the wells that had PFAS and everybody had to be delivered water. And he was basically saying, we're the same type of situation, that our water is so bad. And that's why I want to make sure that people know that what we have is safe, it's good, it's.
Yeah, it might be not a bad idea to have kind of a standard statement that just gets posted up there from the water department. And I don't know if any of you want to start engaging one-on-one. So we could kind of post something officially, that's coming from the water department. Are you talking about 143, Lee? Is that what you're talking about, Quassa 143?
Yeah.
I just read the comment. It was after the dirty water.
So maybe, sometimes you do have to post stuff up there to say, that's not true. Here, go to here if you want more information. Because I think the website has lots of great information, doesn't it? I think we have.
Oh, yeah. But people really don't even read it. I've noticed that, being at public meetings where I'm accosted with, oh, no, you didn't do that. I said, it's right on the website.
Yeah. So maybe just a quick statement with a link. We've done that sometimes for, when stuff gets a little bit dangerous, we'll post something. I don't know.
But Chris, I lean towards you. Like, it's one guy's troll comment, and if you engage him, it may get worse than better.
But you have to watch it. If it catches on, you want to stop it. I agree with Lee. You don't want this to get that. You don't want to get him going. On the other hand, you don't want people to start believing what he's saying is true, right? So I think drafting something just to be ready with something simple and innocuous and direct, without engaging too much. And then if the board wants to do something, you most certainly all can. So
Where River's is coming out with a flyer. They're gonna do a social media post. It's about their water quality. It's very colorful. It's friendly looking, and it actually surprising. I mean, it talks about PFAS, THM. It says where the levels are, where the ranges are, and it's actually really nice. It's eye catching. Something like that is kind of worth having, and they can just put it right out there. Because if you get into public discussions, it can turn very sour pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, that's why I think we should have something on the website so that
just like for instance, sorry, Lee, just for instance, like yesterday talked about the 10% increase in Ware River, where I had mentioned it was part of their plan to do a 10% increase, and somebody had chimed in, and I didn't say much because I'm not going to get into it with somebody, but it really is. It's what Chris says is true. Is this you have to be careful, because those trolls will really get you, and having the facts is very important.
Steve, can you get us that copy of the water quality report done by Ware River? I think it'd be good for us to see it. We may want to do something similar.
Well, we do our water quality report every year, John, as well. It's on our website.
Yeah, I saw ours too. I just, if you look at there.
Yeah, we used to do the fancy colors, and the board years ago decided to cut back on doing that type of mailing, to cut back on costs, and the state doesn't require them to be mailed out to individual homes anymore. I don't
Yep.
know if it's something you guys want to revisit again and start that up again, because we put it in the certain amount of places, schools, daycares, doctor offices, and then it's posted on our front of our our website, that they can just click on it and read it. But it's all handled in-house now. We used to send it out for printing and binding and all of that other stuff, but we cut costs, so.
I'd like to interject. I just read Marshfield's over the weekend and thought they did a very nice job on their CCR. So, maybe it is something that should be revisited. It's unfortunate that very few people read them, but again, Marshfield, I thought did a nice job.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll
Nice to have,
send her, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, it's nice to have it there, so, just so we have some way, if people start questioning what these trolls are doing, not that we're answering the trolls directly, but say, hey, here it is. And, just bring attention to it somehow on the website.
Can I ask, Steve, is what you're talking about, was what Weir River did just a simple, like, couple page flyer? Was it, that you're talking about just like a, because you could put a one pager, into the tax bills, or your water bills. Something flashy and colorful. That goes to everybody. So that's one thing you might want to think about, is just doing something like that and sticking in the water bills.
I'll send what Weir River had, and you can pretty much cut out the first sheet, and it just basically, it's a colorful, where we are, here's our range, this is what it is, and it's a little explanation. I'll send it to everybody. We can take a look at.
Thank you.
Yeah, but about those inserts in the water bills, we have found that basically 98% of the people throw them out without even looking at them.
I just say it's already paid for. See, there's no extra. You just got to print them. I hear you, Lee.
Well, no, it is an extra cost of printing it too. And
Right,
stuff.
I'm printing it, but the mailing costs are already done. I know, I hear you. I do think that posting this kind of stuff on Facebook and distributing it, I have no doubt members of select.
Talking Facebook.
What?
I was talking Cohasset 143 TV, doing something on there, doing it on the town website. Nothing to do with Facebook at all.
No,
But just that we have something in our back pocket. Hey, this is going around, and people can say, hey, it's on the town website. Something's wrong with this guy. He's a crackpot. No.
Actually, sometimes if you're able to, not the one who talk about Facebook the whole time, but if you're able to put something on, like those social media sites, because real honestly, I bet you a lot of people don't even go to the town website. Everybody tracks to like the 143 and et cetera. And so you can, like say Kevin McCarthy usually good about posting stuff. You can put something right out there and people will actually take a look at it.
It's not a bad idea whether or not to have a Cohasset Water Department Twitter account for dirty water issues too, to be able to tweet out there saying we had a dirty water concern or something like that. But then you could also tweet out stuff about the water quality too.
Yeah.
And then, it would be really amazing because people don't even realize who to call if there's an issue with their water, which I don't know. You hear that from people out on the street. I didn't know who to contact. Maybe we have to have some learning processes going on. Whatever.
Okay, well, thanks, everyone. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the Water Commission minutes from the meeting on May 4th, 2021 and June 3rd, 2021.
Second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any commission comments?
The
Nope.
water deferral, guys,
Oh, yes. Good job, Brenda.
Oh, yeah.
somebody can just make a motion.
I make a motion, we grant the deferral.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anything else anyone has?
That's all I have.
John and Steve, if you could swing into my office at some point, in the next day or so, I need 2 signatures on the deferral.
Sure. And I'll bring
Okay.
you the signed minutes too.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Thank you.
I'll be by
Okay.
tomorrow.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 4:24 PM.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. Good to see you, Chris.
Good to see all of you.
Everybody.
You too. See everybody.